Okay. So reaching up and over. Nice and long, all the way through the side of the body. Come back into the center. Take both arms out to the sides. You're just going to keep your hips nice and stable and reach side to side. Just pushing that chest across. So we're going to go side to the side, up and over, side, side, up and over, side, side, over, side, side. One more time. Come back into the center. Now take one foot over the other. If you want to hang on to something here, you can. You're going to push into that back hip and kind of slide that hip back into the corner a little bit. So your weight's in the back heel and you're trying to get a nice stretch down the side of your leg. Stretching out the IT band. If you want, you can turn your torso to the front leg and lift that back hip up and push it back a little bit farther. Woo. And then slowly roll back up. Switch sides. Again, if you have something to hang on to here, it might help with the balance. You're going to sit back into that back leg, push your hip up and back, and rotate toward the front leg. And then roll all the way up. Take a deep breath in here. Lift your arms up to the ceiling. Reach back. Lift the chest. Tuck the tailbone under. Lift the rib cage. Pull that belly in. Drop your shoulders back and down as far back as you feel comfortable going. And then you're going to bring those arms down to your sides. Take them behind your back. Set your hands on the small of your back and just push your hips forward, opening up. Pull your elbows toward each other. And then coming back into the center. Lift your arms up. Take them out to the sides and slowly just roll forward. Let your chin drop, let your head drop. Bring your hands about halfway up. Straighten out your back. Lengthen through the spine. And roll all the way forward. Drop your tail, bend your knees slightly, rounding your back. Roll all the way up. Take a deep breath in here. Lift your arms to the ceiling As you exhale, blow all that air out. One more time, inhale up. Exhale, bring your hands behind your back. Press your hips forward. Pull your elbows back. If it feels okay on your neck to lift your chin up, do that. Slowly bringing the belly back in. Roll forward. Drop your chin to your chest. Come halfway up, long spine. Bend your knees slightly. Roll up about a little bit more. Take your feet wide-ish. Hands on your thighs. I want you to drop your tailbone and drop your chin to your chest. Again, we're rounding that spine. And then lift your forehead, lift your tailbone for cow. Reverse. And reverse. One at a time, drop your shoulders through. You can widen your stance here. Pressing the shoulder through, pushing the other one back. Coming back into the center, roll up, roll those shoulders back and down. And if you've got your mat, go ahead and set it out. We're going to make our way down to the floor. So, lifting those arms up again. You're going to give a flat back, forward fold. Again, coming halfway up, stretching that back really long. One more time. Really push that tailbone back. Push your shoulders back and down. Bend your knees. Set your feet on, or your hands on the floor, and you're just going to walk yourself down to all fours, or come onto all fours, however you get there. And we're just going to repeat the cat-cow a few times here on all fours. So lifting that tailbone, lifting the forehead to the ceiling, and then reversing that. Reverse again. Take your time with this. You don't have to go at my pace. If it feels really good to be in one spot, just hang out there for a few seconds. You can rock your hips side to side here. You can push yourself forward and back. Just kind of work through your spine, work through your shoulders and your hips from this position. Start to visualize that spinal column and then everything that's attached to it and how it's working together, you would hope. Give me a few forward, backward rocks here, if that's okay on your knees. If your knees bother you in this position, one thing you can try is to put an extra pad underneath them or roll up to the bottom of your mat. Stick it underneath your knees. We're going to sit all the way back into child's pose. Walk your arms forward. Let your head drop to the mat. Keep breathing. Go ahead and lift your hips up. You're going to shift your weight forward. Walk your arms forward on the mat. Let your hips come down and press up into Sphinx pose. So your forearms are on the mat, shoulders over elbows, lifting that torso up off the mat. Really push your shoulders back and press your hips into the floor. Stay here if you feel comfortable here. If you want a little bit more stretch through the back, really put your hands on the sides of your ribs, but really pull your shoulders back and down. Make sure you're not shrugging those shoulders forward, and then press up, keeping those shoulders rolled back and down, pushing your hips down toward the floor, lengthening through the front of the body. Bend your elbows, come back down, put your chin on your hands, and lift your heels up one at a time. See if you can feel the stretch in the quads in the front part of the legs. Bring one leg up. If you have the mobility to reach back and grab that foot or your pant leg, or if you have a strap, you can wrap that around your foot and just pull your heel toward your glute. Stretching out your quads. Slowly release that and switch sides. Release that. You're going to roll onto your back. Actually, let's start on this side. So just roll onto one side. You're going to press yourself up here, reaching your arm over your head. I want you to lift your body up into a side plank and just reach long as you can. Grab that bar. Bring that arm back down. Have a seat. You're going to bring your legs in front. Arms come up over your head. Pushing your chest forward. You're just going to bring your ribs toward your knees, keeping that back really long as you can. And then you can let your arms come down wherever you can reach, and then use your hands to pull your chest a little bit farther forward. So back is staying nice and long. If you want, you can round that back a little bit, come a little bit closer to the legs. And then roll all the way up. Take your feet wide. Adjust your position as much as you need to here. You can kind of push yourself up, push your tail back a little bit. Get your muscles out of the way. Reach up and down. Now make a big kind of X position here. And you're just going to reach over to one side. And then kind of slide those arms through the middle to the other side. Try to keep both hips pointed down and on the floor. So this one tries to come up. You want to really sit that back down. Don't go as far. You want to get that stretch all the way through the back of this leg. So if you're coming up here, you're not really stretching much on that side. So here we're going to make a big circle with our hands, like you're stirring a big pot. Keep the back long. Push that chest through. Go the other direction. Coming back into the center, reach to the other, to this side, and then walk your hands through over to the other side. Come back to the center. Bring your heels in. So in butterfly pose here, sitting up nice and long, and use your elbows to kind of press your thighs apart. Drop your chin to your chest. Lengthen your spine. You can take your head side to side here. And center up the chin. Bring your knees in together, and then you're going to roll over or walk yourself over to the other side. We're going to go back into that side plank on this side. So you can use this bottom leg as support as you lift up with your hips and reach up and over your head. Set your hips down, bring that arm in. You're going to roll onto your back. So you're on your back, knees pointed toward the ceiling. Take your hands to your sides. Bring your heels in a little bit closer to your tailbone here. You're going to press through those heels and start to lift your hips up off the floor, pushing them up toward the ceiling. Try to keep your shoulders out of your ears. If you want to walk them underneath you a little bit more, that'll let you push those hips up a little higher, get a little bit more distance between your back and the floor. Go ahead and lower down. Rock your hips forward and back a few times. So let the space between the back and the mat disappear and reappear. Come side to side a little bit with those hips. Center it up. You're going to lift up one more time. Pressing the hips up toward the ceiling. Stretching out your hip flexors. And lower down. Bring those knees into your chest and rock side to side. Center up your knees. Oh, I gotta push back a little bit here. All right, so bringing one knee at a time, you're just gonna alternate long legs, maintaining that stretch and also keeping your core really strong as you switch back and forth here. Engage your abs. Use them to help pull that knee in and help them to keep that long leg up off the floor. If you want more abs, take your hands behind your head or across your chest and just move through bicycles. Still getting that stretch though, so pull that knee in. Keeping the hips stable. One more time. Holding this right knee into your chest. Go ahead and let the left leg come down to the floor. Extend your right leg toward the ceiling. And pull that leg into your chest. Rotate your ankle. Both directions. Bend your knee again, pull it back into your chest, and then kind of slide it over to the outside of your rib cage. Give it a nice squeeze in, and then keep moving the knee toward the floor. So you're opening up through the hips, keeping this hip pushed down. Bring the leg back through the center. Set this foot down. Bring the other foot up. Set it on the floor, and you're going to let both of those knees fall to your left and look away. Coming back to the center with your knees one at a time. Bring the right knee back into the chest and cross it over the left. Cross your ankle over your left knee. Opening up those hips. Try to get a flat 4 here. So you can use your hand to push that knee away from you. Getting it stretched through the outside of the right hip. If you want, and you can keep that leg pushed away, go ahead and lift up your left foot, giving yourself a little bit more leverage in that stretch. Wherever you're at here, just hang out for a few seconds, trying to breathe through this stretch, loosening up the hip muscles. Set your foot down if it's lifted. Uncross your legs. Pull your left knee into your chest and extend your right leg long. And extend the left leg up toward the ceiling. Holding onto the back of that leg somewhere, you're just going to pull it in toward your chest. Rotate your ankle. Keep breathing, nice and even. I'm going to bend this knee. Pull it back in toward your outside of your ribs. Keeping your right hip pushed down, open that left leg out to the side. Come back into the center. Pull that knee in. Lift your other foot. Set your foot down. Cross the ankle over the knee and push that knee away from you. Same thing on this side. Try to flatten out that 4 shape. And make this stretch your own. If you like to lift your leg up, go ahead. If you want to keep it down, that's also fine. Just try to get in that stretch through the outside of this top leg. Rock side to side. Set both feet down. Take your knees over to the other side. Just getting a nice spinal rotation. Bring the knees back in through the center. Pull them both in toward your armpits now. And just rock side to side. Bring the knees back in toward each other. Set your feet down. Just give me a slow march in place. At the same time, I want you to take your arms over your head and just pull your elbows down. So you're kind of cactusing your arms here, letting the chest open up. Keeping the backs of your arms and your forearms on the floor, I want you to slide those arms back up over your head. And keep marching in place. Slow it down just a little bit. When your right knee comes up this time, I want you to bring your left arm up and then set it back down and switch. Pull your belly in, engaging your abs. Push the back into the floor. One more time each side. Hold these 2 limbs up. Now I want you to bring the other ones up as well. So both knees, shins are pointed toward the ceiling, both hands are up, fingertips pointed toward the ceiling. Keeping your left hand pointed toward the ceiling and your right shin pointed toward the ceiling, I want you to take your right hand and your left foot down and pull them back into each other. Switch. If you want more core work, straighten your legs here. Same thing. Your opposite arm and leg are going to come down and back up. If you don't feel like doing that because it hurts your back, keep your knees bent. Really controlling that. Don't let your hips wobble from side to side. Two more. Last one here. Bring those arms out to the sides. Keep your feet up in the air. If your knees are bent, that's fine. I just want you to go side to side with those legs like windshield wipers. So you're focusing right now on your core, on those abs. Push them down, really engage. Think about that tiny straw that you're breathing through. Trying to move those legs side to side by using your abdominal muscles to push them over and control them and bring them back. One more time. Come back to the center. Set your feet down. Now just let them go side to side with your feet on the floor. Take your time. Bring your knees all the way over to your right side. You're going to roll yourself over to that side. Come onto all fours again. And then come up onto your knees. That works for you. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale. Bring your hands behind your back. We're going to push those hips through again. Pull your elbows back. And then come back up. Bring your hands to the floor. Take one foot through and then push your hips forward into that runner's lunge. You should feel this stretch on the front part of the back leg. Go ahead and shift your hips back. Point your toe to the ceiling and push your chest toward your thigh on that front leg. Bring your hand to the inside. Bring that leg back around. You're going to switch sides. So stepping the other foot forward, sinking into that runner's lunge or lizard or hip flexor stretch, whatever you want to call it. Let those hips drop. Lift your tail, point your toe to the ceiling, and sit back. Bring this leg around. Come back up here and then stand up however you need to do that. Just roll through the hips. Oh. Just give me a few hip circles. Rolling those shoulders out at the same time. I don't know why, but my traps are super tight today, so we did a lot of this. Go the other direction with your hips. And let those arms come side to side. Drop your shoulders down, roll your wrists out. Both directions. Squeeze your fingers. Start to shake everything out. Have a happy Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow.